Hi, my name is Chelsea Meck, and I am presenting my interpersonal communications project. We'll start with the About Me slide, the second slide. I am pursuing my master's degree in Human Services and Family Counseling. I'm engaged and getting married this summer, and I work for Highlands Community Services mainly with the after-school program, but I also help out with the behavioral kids that come into the agency. Next slide. A little introduction about the course in this project, and we've been learning about different parts of communication and how those things play a role in the relationships that we form. Just a couple of definitions. Interpersonal communication provides a framework for understanding how we communicate with others in everyday situations. It can take place in romantic situations, family, workplace, intercultural, and computer-mediated contexts. Next slide. My overarching goal is to overall become a better listener. I want to become a more empathetic listener. When I listen to people, I just listen to the surface of what they're saying. I don't really go in depth and really get a feel for how they feel and what they're thinking. And that's what I really want to work on. Next slide. To enlarge the conversation means to add to what the other person is saying with what you know and your experiences and your understandings of what you all are talking about, and just trying to get a better understanding and experience of what you all are talking about. Next slide. Carbonell's behavioral blend is a 4-part graph that tells you different types of personalities and how they can all mesh together. The D, active task-oriented personalities, are directing, driving, demanding, dominating. The I, active people-oriented personalities, are inducting, influencing, impressing, interactive. The S, passive people-oriented personalities, are steady, shy, stable, submissive, specialists. C, passive task-oriented personalities, are cautious, competent, calculating, compliant, careful. People don't have just one of these. They have a blend. That's what's called a behavioral blend. They have a little bit of each one of these that plays a role in their personality and their characteristics of their personality. Also, along with the blends, the results tell you, after you take the personality quiz, the results tell you how you would act in public around people that you don't really know, like your coworkers, and then it tells you about how you act when you're at home with your family and people that you've known all your life. Next slide. So this tells what is expected of me when I'm at work and around people that I don't really know, and then this is me is the section about how I act in front of my family when I'm at home. How I act at work: I am confident, I'm humble, I tend to be passive, I like to do one thing at a time and do it right the first time. I get nervous in front of new people, and I kind of hide my true personality when I'm in front of people that I don't know. And I'm kind of the complete opposite when I'm at home. I don't really consider myself to be reserved when I'm at home, and I take more of an active, decisive, dominant role. And I also enjoy helping other people that need help. Next slide. There's some positive and negatives about my behavioral blend. My positives are that I'm sure of myself publicly, but I don't really let people know that I'm sure of myself. I'm kind, I'm passive, which can also be a negative. I kind of tend to let people run over me, and sometimes I overanalyze things, and I'm too worried about what other people think. Next slide. So there are some potential barriers that I have thought about my communication skills. Um, Sometimes I tend to interrupt people, and it's not because well, I guess it is. I'm kind of concerned about what I'm thinking about, but I tend to finish people's sentences, which is weird. But I just want them to think that I know what they're talking about and that I'm being supportive. And a solution to that is that I can be more laid back and reflect on what the person is saying exactly, kind of paraphrasing, so that they know that I'm for sure listening and understanding what they're saying. Next slide. Another barrier that I found is that I like to be an intellectual listener, which is that I like to only listen to things that I agree with. Sometimes I don't like to hear what other people have to say if I don't necessarily agree with it, or I don't think that their ideas are as good as mine. And the same solution with this one, I can be a more empathetic listener and kind of relax and let them just vent and not judge them before they even get their thought out. Next slide. There are all different types of noise pollution and distractions. There's some internal ones like personal issues, emotional separation, hearing what you want to hear. There's bias listening. Anything that's going on in your head or problems that you have at home can affect what you hear and how you communicate with what the other person is saying to you. Next slide. There's also external communication barriers and noise pollution, like cell phones and loud atmospheres and other people talking over you, and social media is a big one. All of those things can influence you or distract you from what the other person is saying and how you communicate back and forth. Next slide. So I've come up with an action plan to become a better listener. I want to be more empathetic. I want to focus, encourage, and reflect. I want to make my speaker feel more important, and I want to engage in the conversation more. Next slide. I want to let people vent until they find a solution to their own problems, because usually I kind of like to interrupt before they get through. And I do not want to interrupt them anymore. I want to be more patient, more positive, and enthusiastic. Next slide. So to conclude, I want to say that I've learned a lot in this class. The books and the tests and the quizzes and everything have helped me learn a lot about communication and how important it is in relationships. And I just want to leave you with a quote that I found. May you not only listen to those around you, but hear them in a way that encourages creativity, collaboration, and growth. May your footprints always lead others on paths of love and justice. Thank you for listening.